Sir, I need to see some ID. We've had reports of suspicious activity in the area.
What's suspicious about sitting on a bench and reading?
Do you have identification or not?
I'm a psychiatrist at the hospital across the street. I eat lunch here every single day.
I don't care if you're the president. ID, now.
Is it because I'm black?
The body camera was already rolling when Dr. Malcolm Pierce slowly looked up from his medical journal and realized something was wrong. Not because of what the officer said, but because of how he said it. What should have been a quiet lunch break in Riverside Park was about to turn into an 8-minute confrontation that would expose implicit bias, challenge constitutional boundaries, and permanently end a law enforcement career. And the officer had no idea who he had just stopped. Dr. Malcolm Pierce wasn't just another man on a park bench. He was a forensic psychiatrist, a consultant for multiple police departments, the man responsible for determining whether officers were psychologically fit to wear a badge and carry a weapon. For 23 years, Malcolm had evaluated over 2,000 officers. He knew the warning signs. He knew the language. He knew the body posture, the tone, the insecurity masked as authority. And now, he was seeing it unfold in real time directed at him. It was a warm September afternoon. The park was alive with joggers, families, dog walkers, and the quiet rhythm of city life. Malcolm sat on his usual bench, eating a turkey sandwich, reading the latest issue of the Journal of Forensic Psychology. Same routine he'd followed for nearly a decade. Same peaceful escape from the emotional weight of evaluating broken systems and damaged minds. There was nothing suspicious about him, unless you considered existing while black a crime. That's when Officer Nolan Prescott approached. Prescott was 29 years old, 5 years into his career. No shootings, no major disciplinary actions. Just a clean file and a quiet pattern no one had bothered to examine until now. His body language said this wasn't a request. It was a command. "Sir, I need to see some ID." Malcolm looked up calmly. He clocked everything instantly, the hand hovering near the weapon, the squared shoulders, the confrontational stance. He'd evaluated this exact psychological profile hundreds of times. "What's suspicious about sitting on a bench and reading?" Malcolm asked. Prescott didn't like that, because to him, it wasn't a question, it was defiance. "Just comply," Prescott snapped. "Do you have identification?" "Or not?" Malcolm explained who he was. Explained that he worked at the hospital across the street. Explained that he ate lunch there every day. A reasonable officer would have walked away. Prescott didn't. "I don't care if you're the president, id." Now, that was the moment Malcolm knew this wasn't about safety. It was about power. He could have shown his ID, ended it instantly. But Malcolm knew something most people don't. When you comply with unlawful orders, you train officers to repeat them. So instead he asked the question that changes everything. "Under what legal authority are you demanding my identification?" Prescott bristled, claimed it was a lawful order, threatened obstruction, invented reports of thefts that didn't exist. Malcolm didn't raise his voice, didn't insult, didn't escalate. He cited constitutional law. He waited, and silence exposed everything. When Malcolm calmly explained the Fourth Amendment, reasonable suspicion, and Supreme Court precedent, Prescott faltered. This wasn't how stops were supposed to go. This wasn't how power worked. So Prescott did what insecure authority always does. He prepared to escalate. That's when Malcolm said the words that froze him in place. "I'm Dr. Malcolm Pierce. I conduct psychological evaluations for this department. Prescott's face changed instantly. Confusion, fear, recognition. Malcolm handed him a business card, the kind that ends careers. He documented the badge number, filed the complaint, walked away. 8 minutes. That's all it took. Internal Affairs pulled the footage. Then they pulled Prescott's stop data, and that's when the truth became undeniable. Over 70% of Prescott's stops were of people of color. Double what city demographics justified. Yet those stops almost never resulted in arrests, while his stops of white citizens almost always did. It wasn't instinct, it wasn't coincidence. It was bias. Malcolm's psychological evaluation sealed it. Authoritarian tendencies, implicit racial bias, poor judgment, unfit for duty. Officer Nolan Prescott was terminated. But the story didn't stop there, because when investigators widened the scope, they found the same pattern across the entire precinct. Prescott wasn't an anomaly, he was the norm. Leadership was replaced. Policies were rewritten. Oversight was enforced. Accountability finally arrived. Months later, Malcolm filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. The city settled for $680,000. Not because of sympathy, but because the evidence was undeniable. Malcolm kept eating lunch in that park. Same bench, same book. But now, officers walked past without stopping, because word had spread. One man, one bench, 8 minutes. A reminder that rights only matter when someone is willing to assert them. That authority without accountability is dangerous. And that sometimes refusing to comply is the most powerful thing you can do. So ask yourself, what would you have done? Would you have handed over your ID and walked away? Or would you have stood your ground? Because change doesn't happen automatically. It happens when someone decides enough is enough, and that decision can change everything.